guys. I want to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to interview you, and thank you so much for taking your time to do this as well. The new album just released, Death of Darkness, and I kind of just want to ask, how did the album start coming together? Was there like a certain idea, or what was the inspiration for it?
It was just, well, I mean, actually, as I've been doing this interview, it's funnily enough, I have the way I have been thinking of it, and then our lead guitarist also has done interviews, and probably like our drummer, and then I've been like, everybody seemed to have a little bit different idea how this record, like just a tiny little bit, but I've been more like my point of view has been just like I didn't think of making an album. I just was interested. I mean, like for instance, our lead guitarist was telling that he has been thinking of the album, but this is how it works. It's a teamwork. It's every person who's taking a part has a different idea for this. For like has a different approach, but my approach has been like I didn't think of basically at least right now I would like to tell it I didn't think of like the whole album. I was just like interested in, and we were inspired just to write songs. Like that's our A&R guy, Ravi Hakanen, like was inspiring us like, hey, just write songs good enough to be released as singles, and that's how it started. So I wasn't thinking of like an album. And as we are doing this interview after the album is out, I feel it's only like 2 days or something, you know.
Right.
So it feels it also already feels old, and it's like I'm like I don't know because it's cool to talk about it right now because I'm sort of like disappointed, like oh, this is it, you know, album out, and I'm like. And it feels like like cold, stiff corpse. So
Right.
you know, like this is it. Like the album, we planned. Well, like I said, I was excited. I was celebrating releasing singles and writing, you know, song by song, and then some other guys were like thinking of the whole maybe album or them to be gathered as an album, and I was just celebrating like oh. New song out. Now as the album is out, together with all these previous singles and bunch of new songs, and I feel like kind of like empty, and it's like so that's I guess it's like a hangover, you know, from releasing it. So it's kind of like I don't. And it's cool to do interview exactly right now because I definitely I feel like I got very disappointed. Like, oh, that was it, because and we've done so many records by now, and I guess it's always like that because until now or a week ago I was telling everybody like I really disliked the previous couple of albums. So I don't know how long it takes that I will dislike this record as well. It's just like, you know, it's in my head. And you know, but it's interesting. It's very interesting because I was calling all the guys in the band today, like I feel miserable. What happened? You know, it's like help. You know, like I don't like this feeling. It was better last week when it was hectic and I was doing interviews, which I didn't that much like, you know, like it was too stressful. I would like to sit down and watch a movie or something, but I was talking all over the world about this record. Now I'm doing it again with you. I feel like kind of like I'm like empty shell. Like I don't know what happened. So, but nevertheless, so I have a clue for that. I want to continue from this on releasing, you know, new songs. You know, that so I today, because it's fresh in my mind, fresh just experience, I feel like it's cooler to release. I you know, it's such, I felt it felt really good to release song by song, you know, new music. So now as there's a bunch of songs called an album out, I feel like kind of miserable. So I'm looking forward to start the cycle again, releasing new songs. Not near time soon, but like as soon as possible. Because I like that, because you get high when the new music comes out, and then now as the album comes out, I feel miserable, horrible. There's nothing to look forward to,
Well, I know as a fan, I'm definitely interested in seeing new music. So whenever you're ready to release it.
Well, I mean, yeah. So we released these singles, okay, and then now we are getting ready to release this album, which just came out last weekend. So there was people were complaining because I love to read social media. Of course, everybody. I don't believe that there's any person who says like I don't read reviews or comments on anything.
Right.
That nobody lives in a bubble, seriously. So obviously it's cool. I love it, and so there was some comments that somebody was really frustrated that like why that the person was frustrated because like half of the album which just came out was familiar for that person already from the singles, and that person wanted more music than just 5 new songs that person hadn't heard before. So I was a little bit upset for that for a little while, but then I turned it into positive thinking that, oh, that's great, that person wants new music from us, more and more. It could be like the other way around, like people write like, oh, I hope they don't release any more new records, they're getting worse and worse. But then there's some people who are disappointed that we don't release enough new music for them. So that's cool. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, I think.
We've been existing forever and releasing way too many albums. But there's still somebody's complaining that it's only 5 new songs on this album. I've heard the singles before. To be honest, as I've been doing these interviews with journalists, they never heard the singles. All the tracks were new for most people who review the album. Like a regular journalists, they don't follow every single that, for instance, we were releasing. So for them, the album was just brand new stuff. Probably one song they read about the biography that came out a year ago. So it's a fans who follow that, and I got it. But and now as the album is out, nobody remembers that some of the songs from the record were like as long as we go to the future from the release date, it wears out. Memory fades. Nobody remembers that the singles were out like way before the actual album cover showed up in your streaming service, or the actual CD or vinyl end up to your hands.
Right. Well, I know also you're coming to the USA, and I know it's been a few years since you've been here. How do you feel about that coming back?
Actually, it feels like not that long ago, because we all spent, let's say, some 3 years just stuck into some different zone, and so we happened to tour in the States like 2020, just like the news broke out. I mean, we played in San Francisco, and same night we played in San Francisco, there was a news that in on the harbor of San Francisco, there's a cruise boat full of sick people, and authorities were investigating that there's some disease that had spread out. Can you believe that? We played in San Francisco and that news came out, and we were totally unaware. Of course, I remember that news, and we were talking about, hey, there's actually some strange ship in front somewhere over there, like with some kind of flu going on, and then we played a show and continued the tour. So it was like, and then after that we still continued touring until the very lockdown came down. So it was just before lockdown, and now I would say now it's after lockdown period, even though it was like, let's say, a year ago, but it wasn't that open that it's right now. So 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 it's cool. So I sort of feel that we didn't miss a beat.
Right.
You know, we were over there, and now we come back immediately after, as soon as it was possible to come. And that's how I feel it. So we're excited. We have new music out. Where it was 10 years. It took 10 years. We were 10 years away, and then COVID came. But now we're returning, and we're prepared to return, and start to play there more regularly. Because I mean, there's our record label also informed us that our like they see big data, so the statistics of who's listening our music has been grown in the US a lot, like way big, like so in a way which is not explainable by any advertisement or anything. It's probably through TikTok and like what's currently going on, like goth rock is like sort of return and glam and all that stuff, and we have to be like other feet in glam, other feet in goth, so we fit into that what's going on perfectly, and so that can be seen on our streaming numbers, which means like more and more people are listening to us, and they also analyze it. Like you can see from statistics, it's like our listeners are young, like under 25 maturity. So that's really cool. We have a new generation there to rock with us.
Yeah, and I know you guys have been around.
It's kind of like it's kind of Rolling Stones kind of thing. Like I start to feel like a Mick Jagger.
Well, that's awesome that more people are. I mean, you guys have been around for a while, and it's awesome to see new fans, especially in the younger generations, appreciate you guys and your music and the goth and roll.
Yeah, I think like what we offer the idea, the image, but also like the, I would say philosophy, but sort of like outlook for life and things is like it's fresh always. It's not stuck into some time. It's not stuck into some age. We're not a retro band. We're just current happening rock band. We just happen to play pretty long on this planet. But I that's like as I was said, I was excited to create new singles. Like so, every single should be current. Every single should happen. Every single should represent the current time, but at the same time be timeless.
Right. So how would you say this new album compares to like your, I would say like Blessed Be, since it's kind of an album that was produced a while ago?
Well, Blessed Be, I was like 29 years old when I wrote those songs, 28, 30. I don't exactly remember who that guy was, but it looked pretty much like me, which is weird. That guy was wearing the same clothes, exactly the same clothes, because I just grabbed my long leather jacket from my closet just for fun, because it happens to be there. So and it looked lonely. So I was thinking like maybe I should take along with me again for adventure. So it's kind of funny. I'm wearing like if anybody's interested in we did some music videos back in those days, and then there's like for instance music video of a song called Brandon Lee, and I'm wearing a long leather jacket. So that's exactly the same jacket I'm wearing. We did the music video for Death of Darkness, but also like this Murder Takes Two. So it's hilarious. I just like literally be wearing the same stuff, but because I can, and and I have the same hairdo as well. So it's also hilarious. Just again because I can.
Right.
So I'm like recycling myself.
I mean, if it's a good jacket, you might as well keep it. I think it looks great nowadays as it did back in Blessed Be.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's horrible, but I just let's see what happens if I do that. And it happens, and because I actually have all those clothes, and they just been waiting there, and like I said, the jacket looked lonely, so I thought that it's time to give it more adventures. So there you go, and that's actually what's the most crazy thing. It's really fashionable at the moment. If you look at anything like Yves Saint Laurent or any other fashion house, everybody's wearing those long black leather jackets, like from 1999 or 2000. So I got it. So I'm not like going with trends. I'm just being myself again.
Well, I think it looks really
23
great.
years ago, but what's different? It's not that much really. Blessed Be was that happened somehow. We didn't know what was going to happen, and we had a new producer guy there who sort of solved the mystery how the 69 should sound like, and his idea was like the way I was singing and way I was whispering and whispering some words and whispering some verses and singing in the way I was singing, and there were just experiments, and then that style stayed. So that's been used like ever since. But I don't listen to those records, so I don't exactly remember them how they even sound, because we've been playing those songs, so many songs from that record, for instance, that I think it sounds live totally different, because I'm not like repeating it how it's on the old record. Same with every song we play live. They turn out to be the live songs, and I don't check out like how it should be, how it was on the record. The live versions are very different. They're more rock and roll. They were more. It depends on the audience, and the mood, how the mood is, and a lot of other factors. But it's and that record actually was just like as you are talking about it from the States, it never came out in the States. It just came out in Europe, and I didn't those days. There was no streaming, so it really came out as a physical product only in Europe and only in certain countries. So there was no. We just made music. We didn't think who will listen to it, who will eventually listen to it, and which songs will be even singles from that record. Like it was, like for instance, the song that I just mentioned, Brandon Lee. That's probably song number 8 or something on the album, and that was like just one of the songs, and then Roadrunner Records, which was big record label back then in Europe, they wanted that song to be a single, and that song became a hit for us from that record, like wherever it was released, but also in radio stations here in Finland. I'm always talking about like radio, releasing singles, hits, radio, and I always only in Finland, because I have no understanding, and I never heard that much that our songs were ever played in elsewhere on radio except in Finland. But radio really matters here still. I think it matters everywhere. So that's when I talk about radio, I always talk about Finland. But yeah, it's a big deal when your music is played on radio. It's not that I'm excited to hear it by myself, but it's then all of a sudden a lot of people know about your music.
Oh yeah, I agree. I don't think I've ever heard you guys play on the radio here, maybe like in bigger cities, but I know like radio is a big way for people to be introduced to your music. That's why I'm so thankful for like streaming services. So people who do live in other countries, it's a lot easier to be able to listen to your music nowadays versus back in the day it was only physical copies and like
that's why I mentioned it, because as North American, ask about that record because it never came out in elsewhere except in Germany. sorry, in Central Europe. So it didn't even come out in England. So the road goes like this. And it's the same. There was another band who was going just like one step before us, even though we're younger. That was him, and their music was released in Central Europe, Germany mainly. Then at some point, their music was released in the States. And then they started to play there. We did the same exactly, like, let's say we talk about like months difference. And then after that, their music was released in England. Same with us, and they got the English press, and then we got the English press as well. And then like it was like old in the old world, the circle was like that. It was, for instance, very difficult to get your music out in England. Actually impossible unless you happened in the States.
Right.
They are like they have their own cool music scene, so they don't necessarily need any other music from anywhere else, except if they see something's happening in some band from other countries that non-English speaking countries is happening in the States, then they can get interested in, and that's understandable, and that's exactly the route for us. So. Back to that record, it was we wrote the songs mainly for our fans in Finland, and then wish was that somebody like in Central Europe will hear that music as well. On the other hand, as by then we had already played 10 years, so we were kind of old. That we were old band already. 10 years is a long time. So I always knew that we like ever since the first whatever we did. I knew that we were ready to play wherever, and I've seen like wherever our influences came. They came of course from a couple of bands from Finland like Hanoi Rocks, but also like straight from the American rock and roll like New York, CBGB's punk bands, and also glam bands that I saw, and the Attitude, and we were with our guitarist Pasi in New York to see bands and get to know them and see how the things were done. So when we started to play with our own group, we were like doing the same thing like we would play in New York in rock clubs. So that it was like from the beginning, I got the idea that this is how it's done, but like it doesn't depend on you and your mindset. It depends on the people who are like there as a filters. What kind of music will get through these filters and spread to people. So it took back then especially. So it took a long time, but if you're cool, even though you just release one song as a physical vinyl single, that gets heard because if it's cool enough,
Right.
and we broke through that cool barrier with our very first single. So it was very different, but I think it's different words, different sentences, different kind of like explanations nowadays when you can get your music heard all over the world, but you probably use different words, how to explain, how to make difference, how to reach people, what kind of impact you have to make, and to whom, and so on. But then it was just like it was this kind of thing. So even though with Blessed Be, we were already in my mind like the coolest band, being like 10 years. So we just wrote another record, knowing that we're the coolest band. There was no expectations. We just knew this is the coolest stuff ever. So it was good that somebody else realized that too by that time after 10 years.
Right. Well, I'm glad you guys did get the recognition.
So actually going back to the question, so this record, we know we're the coolest, so we just made a new bunch of singles just to to shock the playlists during the year and try to be best ourselves. Totally different way this time. So when this album comes out, like even though I said like I'm like kind of upset that it's out, and 69 Eyes could make, after these years.
Right.
So there's no stone left unturned, and we gave everything to there. Now I think what we're gonna give next is that we're gonna play the fuck out of USA, and play the best out of, from ourselves, and give, because I think what we learned, what we experienced during the year of time, we're really motivated, and we're so excited to play live that we have a new life completely. I don't know if you have a chance to look out or any pictures or anything. I think we're really, really in the best live shape ever, and where it's obvious now that this is sometimes in the interviews over the years has been questioned, which I never understood. Actually, I didn't give out any cool answer because I sort of haven't ever thought about it. But it's like, which is better, playing live or being in the studio?
Right.
I don't know how you can question like that. So I was like. But now I would say live is the best form of us. We've done enough records. Who cares if we release records or not? Except the fans who are upset that there's not enough song on our brand new, unheard music on our records. But I'm more motivated playing, live.
Yeah, I hear you. I think.
And jump around with the people. I want to meet people, jump around, party with them, to be involved with life, humans, rockers, punks, glamours, heavy metal people, oi punks, goths, just be part of this planet and enjoy it. I mean, this 3-year silence is over.
Right.
Now it's time to fucking rock.
Well, I think that's one thing I love about the 69 Eyes is even though you guys have gotten bigger and bigger, you've always remembered your fans. And to me, and I'm sure a lot of other fans, that's something that we really appreciate.
Well, I mean, we like to be different in that sense too. I mean, we never grew that big that we isolated ourselves. And even though there was a time of excitement towards us, then, we were surprised. We never, escaped anybody, and we just love to. It's like our attitude. We're there. We hang out. Just have a good time. Occasionally, of course, you need to go. You don't have time to be there, but we do our best sincerely. And if there's anything we can do differently, everybody can let us know.
Right on. Well, I don't want to keep you for too long, so my last question is there anything that you'd like your fans to know or anything you'd like to say to them?
Well, I hope that they can make it to the shows, and we've been playing like our fans know that we have. So I would like to have don't be upset that we don't come to wherever you are, and you notice that we're playing somewhere else than that where you live. It's not our decision, and I would hope that our fans would come to see us, come out, come to see the shows. You never know what happens next. We already saw that. So I'm traveling around the world to see bands. I don't expect them to come to some close where I live. So, but I have because I can. But I hope that people would open-mindedly also, if they really want to see us live, see the options, what they would be to come to our shows. The chance that we don't come to your nearest pub might be sometimes pretty big these days. And besides, we have more tours behind us than in front of us. You have to also remember that. So sincerely, I hope that we're going to meet and have a good time. We have an effort traveling around the world and across the world to play as close as we can to you. Also, I hope that you have a chance and time to come to play with us. literally playing. It's a play. It's a ritual. We play rock and roll, and you're in the audience, but it's a ritual that we both parties share.
Right. Well, whoever can get out, make sure to go see the 69 Eyes. They're playing in Phoenix, California, as well as Nevada. And thank you so much for taking your time to interview with me as well. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all. Great talking to you, Alex.